I stopped cooking for my entire family after everyone ate my food, but no one said thank you for 3 years. I cook every night. Have cooked every night since Marcus and I moved in together 11 years ago. Breakfast on weekends, packed lunches when the kids were still in middle school, dinner every single weeknight without fail. Marcus can make coffee and scrambled eggs, and that is genuinely the full extent of his abilities in a kitchen. My kids, Bria, who's 16, and Tyler, who's 14, have never once made dinner. I'm not complaining about any of that. It's just how our house has always worked. What started to bother me was something I didn't even notice at first. Nobody ever said thank you. Not once in 3 years. I know that because I started paying attention after the lamb chop dinner. I made it for Marcus's birthday. Marinated overnight, roasted potatoes, a whole thing that took me most of the afternoon. He came to the table, ate 2 full plates, picked up his phone, and walked to the couch. Bria finished in 8 minutes and went upstairs. Tyler asked if there was more and scraped the rest of the serving dish. I sat at the table by myself and waited. The 3 of them were in different rooms inside of 15 minutes. Nobody said a word to me. I brought it up with Marcus maybe 6 months later. I was careful about how I said it, didn't want to make it a whole thing. I just said I'd been feeling a little taken for granted with all the cooking, and it would mean something if people said thank you once in a while. He looked at me like I'd asked for something strange. He said, "You don't thank me every time I go to work." I said that wasn't really the same thing. He said, "They eat it, don't they? That's how they show they like it." I let it go. I brought it up again a year later. Marcus said I was being too sensitive, that it was just dinner, that his mom never needed to be thanked for cooking. I told him that wasn't really a compliment to his mom. He shrugged and went back to his phone. After that, I just watched and kept track. Made chicken tikka masala from scratch on a Tuesday just because I felt like it. Made fresh pasta from real dough on a Thursday night. Made a smoked salmon quiche for Sunday brunch that took almost 2 hours from start to finish. Tyler once said the pasta was a little chewy and pushed half of it aside. Bria moved the quiche around her plate and said she wasn't really in the mood for eggs. The night it ended was a Friday in October. I made a full roast, whole chicken, roasted vegetables, gravy from the drippings, the works. I'd been on my feet for close to 2 hours. I set everything on the table and sat down, and before I'd even picked up my fork, Marcus reached across me to grab a piece of chicken and said, without looking at me, "Can you make a grocery list this weekend? We're running low on a lot of stuff." That was it. That was the whole thing. Bria was already on her phone. Tyler had his headphones on at the table again, which I'd asked him about more times than I could count. Marcus turned on the TV in the next room so he could watch it through the doorway while he ate. I finished my plate, cleaned up the whole kitchen by myself, and went upstairs. The next night I made myself pasta and a salad and left the stove cold. Marcus came in around 7 p.m., opened the fridge, stood there for a minute, then came to find me. "What's for dinner?" I said, "I don't know, I already ate." He kind of laughed like I was joking and went back to the kitchen. He made toast. The kids ate cereal. Nobody asked me anything about it. Same thing the night after that. By Wednesday, Marcus came upstairs and said, "Are you seriously not making dinner?" I said, "I cooked every night for 11 years and nobody in this house has said thank you in 3, so I'm done." He stared at me. He said, "I didn't realize you needed to be thanked for it." I said, "I told you twice." He stood there for a second like he was working out whether to argue. Then he went downstairs and made scrambled eggs for all 3 of them. I heard Tyler tell Bria they were rubbery. That was 2 weeks ago. Marcus has ordered takeout 4 times since then. Bria texted me from her room last week asking if I could just make something quick, and I left it on red. 2 nights ago, Tyler came downstairs and stood in the kitchen doorway and said, "Mom, there's nothing to eat in this house. You just have to cook it." He said, "I don't know how to cook." I said, "Then I guess it's time to figure it out." He hasn't said thank you for that advice either.